you were the one, you took shit seriously.
Yeah, I'd like to think I was the backbone of Gladiators.
Yeah, you had that stare.
Yeah,
I'm glad you've lost that stare today.
That too. Well, I'm not looking to fight you. It's not just all about steroids, you know. Just because you know, you get guys that do take steroids. I've taken steroids. They're not a miracle drug. You don't just take them and everyone ends up looking like Arnold. You know, you got to put the work in.
Once you become wise to it, but sometimes it takes going down the bottom of a bottle or sitting there with an empty pipe in your hand.
Yeah.
It takes that to realise that what I should have done was maybe I should have looked for more forgiving people to talk to.
Yeah.
But
because you can become best of friends with substance.
Welcome back to the Dozen Podcast. Today, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Shadow from Gladiators, everybody.
Thank
you. If, like me, and you're around the 40 mark, even younger or older, even my parents, I mean, we were all massive fans. It was early 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Shadow was the character name. I've read Michael Jefferson, but I normally see the tabloids write Michael Jefferson. So if you see Michael Jefferson, the chances are they're lies. Friends call him Jeff.
That's right.
And it's Jefferson King.
That's right.
Get your heads around that one.
My mother's the only one that called me Jeffrey, and I don't stand for anyone calling me Jeffrey unless, you know, I just don't.
Even if you're in trouble?
I don't. My mum called me that, and that was it. You know, but I do get guys that want to take the piss and sort of start calling me Jeffrey.
Oh, really?
Don't call me Jeffrey. Jeff or Jefferson, but Jeff is good enough.
Do they not remember when you was stood on that podium with the thing in your hand? Just about to fuck somebody up. It's like, before you start cracking jokes calling me Jeffrey, like, cast your memory back to 93. Like, not a lot's changed since then.
Yeah.
So we've just been in the gym.
Yes.
And again, thank you for putting me through the paces. It was I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too.
That was a real good session, being pushed. Well, beyond I would normally not train that hard. I train to maintain. In fact, predominantly I train for vanity, not sanity.
Right.
The gym, I'm not religious, but the gym is my church, and that's what keeps my nut above sea level. And it just, if I'm feeling anxious or slight trepidation in the morning, you've got to sweat it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for me. Like I said, it's part of my DNA. I've been doing it since I was 15, so I don't feel good unless I'm training, you know.
And still the same to this very day.
Yeah, still the same. You know, still get the same feeling, same buzz, same pleasure from doing it.
Same pump.
Same pump.
And you got a very good reception. So when you think of what the media have wrote about you over the years, and I've done a brief bit of research to know that they obviously haven't sat down with you to have a conversation.
No.
Because you got when we walked into the gym, two people that I know straight away looking at each other, pointing at you. Yeah, that's Shadow. So really, in 30 years since you was on primetime TV on a Saturday night, your appearance hasn't really changed.
No, it does surprise me that you know, it's been 30 years and people still see me and react to me like as if it was back in the 90s. Yeah, it's a nice feeling.
Well, even when we met first thing, even if I'm honest with you, even looking at you now, just waves of nostalgia coming back, because Gladiators at the time, was it 93? Because was there 8 seasons or?
No, I was there from the beginning. So 90, it started in 90.
I was 10. You were my hero at one stage, mate. And now here we are, training together, pushing me through the limits. And there was people behind us watching us that know me. Like, fucking hell, he's putting you through your paces. It's like, yeah, we're meant to be friends. I call him Jeff. So
I like that.
Everyone's going to want to know about Gladiators. But yeah, let's touch base on Gladiators.
Okay.
How did that even begin? How did you hear that there was a show being called Gladiators? Was you approached? Did you see an ad? Tell me the beginning of Gladiators.
I used to watch the American program. It used to come on at like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night. So coming back from the clubs and that, turn TV on, there'd be American Gladiators. And after the show, they would say that the British were looking to start
their own
Gladiators. And I just applied for it. Well, a friend of mine applied for me. Like I said, I was just about to turn professional in bodybuilding. So he said, Jeff, you know, you should have a go at this. So he applied for me, and I was put on the list. I suppose, you know, thousands of people throughout the country had tried out. All the hard men, all the doormen, all the fitness fanatics, everyone tried out. I was put on a short list, and there you go.
So to audition for Gladiators, because I'm trying to think. So now, I mean, you would see something advertised on social media and you'd get millions apply for it.
Yeah.
Whereas back sort of 1990 then, I mean, how did you even see the advertisement? Would it be in Yellow Pages or?
Yellow Pages, no.
Where...
Like I said, after the show, the American show on a Friday night,
Yeah.
they would advertise the fact that they were looking for people.
Right. So on the end of the program, then
Yeah.
then they'd advertise that it's coming to the UK next and give you contact details. Your friend applied for you.
Yes.
Did he apply without you knowing?
No, he applied. He told me, Jeff, you fancy some of this? I said, yeah, why not? It might be a good way for me to use my body for something positive. Yeah.
And did you have to? Was it a telephone interview first of all, or did you have to send? Was even emails a thing back then?
No, I think it was a telephone. I think it was a telephone interview. Then they took us down to Woolwich to an army barracks and put through our paces through the PT instructors on the inside, climbing ropes, jumping beams, pull-ups, all that kind of stuff that they do in the army. And then they took us outside to do the assault course. They had PT instructors stationed throughout the woods to make sure that you kept on running and climbing walls and nets and all kind of stuff. Yeah, it was like being in the military camp.
And was it abundantly obvious when you was auditioning for Gladiators that you was head and shoulders above the other people that was applying to be on the show as a gladiator?
Yeah, I did believe and felt strongly that I had half a chance of becoming one. Yeah, yeah.
Well, you were the man.
Well,
in my humble opinion, and I'm sure people that end up watching this, and there will be this will harvest some interest because Gladiators was absolutely massive. It was around the same time as Blind Date, Noel's House Party, and Gladiators was smashing the views compared to the other shows.
Big production. I think it was about £4.5 million production. It was big. The Americans they do their Gladiators in front of they do it in like a cardboard cutout arena. They do it in front of like 1,000 people. We took it to the next level. We took it to an indoor arena, 10,000 plus, twice a day, the shows. We just completely battered it out of the ballpark, really.
And it was, I mean, Gladiators, that was an actual Saturday night for people at home. Yeah. They weren't going out to restaurants or going to the theatre. No. Like Gladiators is on. Yeah. That's our Saturday night. So that's how big it was. It was an event. Yeah. And so before I come, because I mean, you in my eyes, you were the most memorable character, and there was Wolf. He was obviously he was a classic. But he was a character. He was a caricature of himself. It appeared to me, whereas you were like the spine of the show. Out of all the people that were there, you were the one. You took shit seriously.
Yeah, I'd like to think I was the backbone of Gladiators.
Yeah, you had that stare. Yeah, I'm glad you've lost that stare today.
That too. Well, I'm not looking to fight you.
So what was your? Because there was so in Gladiators. I'm just trying to remember all the different. What are they called? Not exercises, different competitions. Yeah. So all the different competitions they had. I remember the Travelator.
Yeah. That was just for contestants.
Yeah, that's right. That was the that was the last bit, and you'd see people like
struggle to get up.
Yeah, they've almost made it, and then all of a sudden their dreams just come crashing down, and they go face first on the Travelator. Dignity goes out the window, pride falls out their pockets, and they're on the floor like, better luck next time. And then someone just creeps up and takes a breath first, and then go for it. And then you used to swing through like the thingy at the end. Yeah, just remind me of some of the competitions that there were.
There was the pyramid, where the gladiator would be at the top of the pyramid. You had to make your way up to the top.
Yes.
My job was to come down halfway and meet you, throw you down again, so you had to struggle to get to the top again. There was a sky track that was like a sky electric track that was in the ceiling of the arena. They took you up on a hoist, would take you up on a hoist to the top, and then you hook yourself up to the track.
Yeah.
So you're running upside down, and you got to chase the contestant and tag him.
Oh yes, yes, I remember that one.
Okay.
Yeah, running upside down. Yes, I do remember that.
And then you got the big metal balls that you would be running inside the metal balls.
Then there was the other one where you had to put the balls in like the little baskets.
Yes, that was like a rugby game, mini rugby game. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And the one where you'd have to get
gauntlet.
through three of you.
The gauntlet,
Where you
yeah,
and what was that thing? 'Cause you used to hold.
Yeah.
What was that called?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you what it was called. It was just a baton.
Like a baton, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a great big double-edged
Yeah,
baton.
that's right.
And so your one was the gauntlet. Is that right?
The jewel.
The jewel. Yeah. The gauntlet was the one we had to go through three of them.
That's right.
And yours was the jewel.
The jewel.
So the jewel was the one. Every contestant that was on Gladiator, from my memory, they looked like they was having a jolly good time when they was doing all the other things until they got up on the jewel, and then had to face you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the only one-on-one game. You know, you're 12 foot up in the air, you're on a 3 foot diameter platform, and it's daunting for the contestants. I felt quite comfortable up there, but it's daunting. And then you got me in front of you, no nonsense. You know, I'm looking to dismiss you from the platform. So if you survive, I would step across and give you a hug and say respect. You know, but I know that you've taken punishment to stay there.
And was there many survivors?
Not many. I mean, there was a few that managed to stay up there and get their 10 points, but they took a beat.
On a whole, predominantly, most of them got
most of them
got dismissed.
Yeah.
And you were either undefeated or there was someone that
Gary Mason
jumped over.
Gary Mason, he stepped across and pushed me off.
So that was cheating.
Well, yeah, I actually thought he jabbed me with the pugil stick, and you know, I couldn't believe
Pugil stick.
pugil stick.
Pugil stick.
Pugil stick.
Right.
I thought he jabbed me with it, and I'm finding myself floating down to the mats. And when I get up, and everyone's rushing around me saying, "Shadow, fight him again, fight him again." I said, "No, he won fair and square." No, he stepped across. So okay, fight him again. John Anderson says, "You know, get ready." And after I swiped him a couple of times, my stick had touched his platform, so they just called it a draw. But he's the only person to actually push me off, not knock me off, but push me off.
Do you know what? Gary Mason, forget all his other world achievements. That'll be his claim to fame. That'll be the one.
Yeah.
Forget all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one that
I done Shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you sort of cheated.
You sort of cheated.
Sort of cheated, gal.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, I mean, we're sitting opposite each other, so people looking at the camera, they won't get the full scope. You're 6'3", and you're still in tremendous shape, and you're 62 now, which is, again, that's hard to believe. You stood out in the gym. You're in better shape than 99% of the people in the gym, and a lot of people in the gym earlier. It's a big old gym. It's got the free weights. It's got the cardio. People are in the absolute prime of their life in there, and you're still in better shape than 99% of them. And then you take that back to when you was standing opposite a contestant on the duel. You were 4 stone heavier than you are now.
Yeah, I was about 19 stone then.
Of raw muscle.
Yeah, I was about 5% body fat. I was in good condition. Yeah.
I remember your quads were unbelievable. In fact, you look like a Black Arnie.
Yeah. Well, like I said to you, I was just about to turn pro before I got the job, so I was well into bodybuilding. I've been bodybuilding since I was 15. I grew up in New York. My mother lived in America, so I started playing American football in high school, and that's when I started to lift weights. I remember seeing a picture of Arnold in the changing room and thinking to myself, I would like to look like that. And
you did.
Yeah, well, I just continued lifting weights, and that was the product. You know, I started to compete as a teenager. I'm the only person to win the Junior Britain 3 times in a row, 78, 79, 80, teenage New York City, Mr. New York City. Came second in the universe my first time out. And then, like I said, I was about to turn pro when I got the job as a gladiator.
I mean, that's some portfolio of achievements that you've got there. So just flick it. Now that we're going to come back to Gladiators, because there's so much stuff that we can unbox from Gladiators that I'm sure people that are watching this now, they've got the nostalgia running through their veins. They're going to want to hear a little bit more. But bodybuilding. Yeah. So it's interesting that I said that to me, you look like a Black Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like a beautiful frame. And that's the thing, you know, it's a weird term to call another man, but if you're sculpting your body as a work of art, you have to appreciate beauty when you see it.
Sure.
And all your shoulders and your delts and your pecs and your quad, everything was just like this guy is unbelievable, an unbelievable athlete. If you've made it this far, thank you for tuning in to the Dozen Podcast, sponsored by Bauer Security.
If you like what you see and you want more of the same, like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification so you get notified when a new guest is coming onto the pod. Enjoy the show. There's lots more to come. Let's get back to the guest.
And then you had the stare that went with it. So like, I'm not here to make up the numbers. I'm here for business. So going back, like to get you into that shape, you was in the NFL, did you say?
I tried for the NFL.
Right.
I went out to, I drove from LA to Texas, took me 2 days. Went to Texas Stadium, tried for the Dallas Cowboys. I remember being there, thousands of guys were there, free agents, not guys that were picked from college, guys that are coming from the street. I had to go and run some drills, some lateral drills, some zigzag drills, going through some cones and stuff. Now, I've waited there all day. I've taken 2 days to drive there. Then I'm there in the arena waiting for hours before my turn. Done these drills. I remember the coach turning around to the other coach and saying, his hips are stiff and he has no hand coordination. Next. And that was it.
Dismissed.
I mean, this is after 2 days of driving. Yeah. Sitting in the arena waiting for my turn to go and do the drills. Yeah. One thing they can't teach you is speed. Yeah. I used to run the 40 in about 4.5, 4.6. If you're doing 4.1, they can take you.
What's the 40?
It's a 40-yard sprint.
Right.
Yeah, they just run that. It's just a 40-yard sprint.
And that's part and parcel of a trial to get into the NFL.
Yes. Now, if you've got speed, they can work with you. Other than that, you know, it's not that easy to get into the NFL. But anyway, so then I ended up going back to Sweden, because I was living in Sweden at the time.
I'm assuming you grew up in the States, though.
Yeah, I grew up from the age of 14 to about 26, 25, 26 there. Yeah.
So where were you born?
I was born here. I was born in England.
Born in the UK?
Yeah.
London?
Yeah, I made it. My mother moved out to America to obviously make money back in the day. And she sent for me. I'm the last of, I'm the youngest of three. I've got a brother and sister. And so I went to live out there with her, yeah.
I'm sort of jumping from bit to bit now because I mean, all the little bits you've done, they're all interesting. I sort of want to compound on them. So I suppose, born and bred in the UK,
Yep.
Your mum then went to the States to earn money over there.
Yes.
She then called you to come and live with her.
Yes.
And so was you always athletic by default?
Yes, always athletic.
And did that run in the family?
No, I was the only athletic one in the family.
You broke the mold?
Yeah, I used to run the 100, 200. I used to throw the shot, discus in school here in England. Then I went to America, like I said, played American football. Lifting weights to play American football, and it just went from there, really. Just carried on.
So when you started lifting weights to help you progress within the NFL, if it all went according to plan, was it an easy decision to come full circle back to weights? Or when you was doing weights, did you think to yourself, if this doesn't work, I'll go down the bodybuilding route? Did you have a plan in your head?
No plan. Weights was part of my makeup. I just did it all the time. And as my body grew, I competed and things just elevated from there, really.
And so you was competing before the NFL trials?
As a teenage bodybuilder in New York. Yeah. And here, I used to come back here to see my father, and I used to compete when I used to come here. So in 78, I came back, won the Junior Mr. Britain, came back in 79, came back in 80, won it 3 times in a row. Then I won the Teenage New York City, Mr. New York City. So it was like that.
I mean, unless someone's actually lifted a weight before or been in a free weight gym where there's guys competing and it completely affects their social life.
Yeah.
It affects their relationships, their social life. You've got to be so dedicated, so driven, and completely and utterly disciplined in order to progress remotely within that industry.
Sure.
And did that affect your relationships in a detrimental way?
I was young then, so relationships weren't sort of, the main topic. But you got to be a bit selfish, and it is hard work, and it's all down to you. And if you don't put the work in, if you don't eat right, you don't sleep right, you don't make the gains. That's it. Genetically, you have to be partly gifted, in order to produce muscle. Not everyone produces muscle. And you got to be consistent. Consistency is the key, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, a lot of people think that it's just all about the training, but it's sort of what you do in the kitchen that counts, isn't it?
Well, that too. You know, it's not just all about steroids. You know, just because you know, you get guys that do take steroids. I've taken steroids. They're not a miracle drug. You don't just take them and everyone ends up looking like Arnold. You know, you got to put the work in. You know, you've got to have the genetic potential to produce muscle. Just because you're taking roids doesn't mean you're going to produce muscle. You may put on size, you may get stronger, you may get stronger in the gym, but if you're not actually producing muscle so that when you come off the gear, it stays with you, you know, you end up losing it.
A lot of people, it's a very easy way for someone that doesn't know to discredit someone's hard work and dedication over years and years and years by saying steroids.
Sure.
But yeah,
sure.
I mean, I've used steroids.
Sure.
So I know, yeah, you're going to carry a lot more water if you're using steroids.
Yes.
And yeah, you're going to put an extra 10, 20% on the intensity of your workout.
Yes.
But outside of that, there's still all the hard work that needs to be done.
That needs to be done, yeah.
And did you have, because a lot of steroid users, they will go into a gym, they'll see a load of lumps, think, I want to have some of that. Yeah. They'll go to the guy in the changing rooms and say, I want to buy some gear. He'll go, get this in you. Boom, boom, boom. You'll lump up, do it in 12 weeks, come off, take a PCT. But really, there's the science behind the whole thing where it can just shatter your immune system, fuck with your blood cells, your hormones are all over the shop. And a lot of people, I mean, I've seen it over the years. I've seen lads that have built a beautiful frame, a great physique, and then they thought, right, I just want to get some mass and want to get some strength. So they'll take something like an Apollon 50, oxymethylone, which is the most estrogenic steroid out there, as far as I know. And all of a sudden, they don't take anything that counteracts the estrogen rebound, and then they've got this beautiful body, and then they start growing actual tits. Could you imagine dedicating, say, 10 years of your life to sculpt a beautiful physique, and all of a sudden you're growing actual tits? Fucking hell. So did you have, I mean,
tits?
No. Did you have someone that would, like, when you first, I mean, obviously you're probably a walking authority on the subject, but at the time when you first got introduced into that world, did you have someone that actually cared about you rather than, that didn't just want your money for the steroids?
No. I was lucky. I trained with Bertel Fox, who's a big name in the bodybuilding world. He's the only other person to win the Junior Britain 3 times in a row, but you know, he's a Mr. Olympia contestant. I was lucky to train with him in Southall, Middlesex. From an early age, from the time I started training, actually, I started to train with him. So I was lucky. I was guided. You know, I waited my time for my body, you know, to grow naturally. You can't force the growth. You know, at 14, 15, 16 years old. Doesn't matter how much gear you take, you're not going to end up looking, you know, like Arnold, let's say.
No, that's years.
That's years of dedication, and you have to grow. Your muscles are still growing, so you know, no amount of gear. Yeah, I was
mental correctly.
Yeah,
good, because that can really. I mean, forget all the recreational drugs and the class A's and the disco rave drugs. If you fuck around with anabolics and growth hormone and stuff like that,
you can end up in trouble.
Big trouble, and it like irreversible trouble. And I think that's good to sort of put that out there, you know, because a lot of people now they're under so much pressure. Like looking at tremendous physiques on Instagram, that they want that because they think that everybody wants that, and that's what girls like. And all of a sudden they're pumping shit in their system, and all of a sudden they are fucked, and they're not coming back from it.
You know, if you look at some of the top people that have been in the bodybuilding industry today, they're not the same people.
Nah.
You know, Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Robbie Robinson, even down to Arnold. He doesn't carry, obviously he's a lot older now, but he doesn't carry the kind of muscle that he was carrying. And some of them are in trouble. A lot of them are dead. Do you know what I mean? A lot of those bodybuilders from the 80s and 90s are well gone. Is that
the abuse of steroids, or is it, because I know a lot of the other stuff like the painkillers to ease an injury and mask it so they can carry on training, and the prescription drugs. A lot of them get, I know, like at least in the WWF, the wrestlers, a lot of them die young because they get hooked on painkillers and downers and stuff like that.
I mean, you know, you're being thrown about and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, their thing is staged, but you still have to be aerobically gifted or aerobatically gifted to do all those flying from ropes and landing and all that kind of stuff. So their bodies do go through a lot of punishment, those guys. So I would imagine, they would imagine they take a lot of painkillers and stuff like that.
Yeah, as far as I know, a lot of the ones that died young. I mean, if you go into YouTube and put in like, WWF wrestlers that I think it's called the WWE now, isn't it? It's changed. Vince McMahon, when he was absolutely blown up on the scene, all them big names like Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, he died in his 50s, didn't he? I mean, what a showman he was. Yeah. But I only think about the WWF because going back to Gladiators, there was a lot of characters that were perfect for Gladiators, but would they have stood out in the WWF where there was like absolutely mega, like the Hulk Hogans and the Macho Man Randy Savages?
No, I doubt very much.
Whereas I think you would have fit in there and you would have sloped in real nice. I think
as well. Yeah, I think as well.
Yeah, because that WWF crowd, they had a movie star presence, didn't they?
Sure.
There was a lot of athletes on Gladiators. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the ones that were more memorable. I mean, you were definitely top of the list, and then there was Wolf, there was
Jet.
Everybody loved Jet.
Yes.
Let's talk about Jet.
Let's talk about
People want to know about Jet.
Jet.
Did you? Here's the question: did you know that in your day-to-day life when you was at work, because I suppose Gladiators for you, after a while, the novelty worn off and it's like, well, I'm at work now.
Yeah.
And she was a work colleague.
Yes.
Did you realise at the time that she was off limits?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't look at Jet like that, but no, I didn't realise she was off limits, no.
I mean, there was plenty of others that did look at Jet like that, wasn't there?
Well, yeah, I mean, she was the sex symbol of the 90s, and she was one of the sex symbols of the 90s.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my friends had posters of her in their bedroom.
And she still looks good today. I saw her the other day on the Gladiator podcast, and she looks great. She looks great.
So she strikes me as a nice person.
Yes, she is a very nice person, down to earth, and
a nice person. And so you was on a podcast with her recently.
Yes.
Was that a Zoom or around
a Zoom, not like this.
Yeah. Okay. And do you keep in touch with any of them face to face?
To be honest with you, I hadn't spoken to any of them from the time I was out of Gladiators. So you're saying 30 years now. Just recently, I've messaged the majority of them. And it's been nice, and the response I've gotten back from them has been nice.
Any not so nice?
No comment.
The ones that weren't so nice, who were they?
Well, there was a few that did their stories and added me to their stories and made up stories.
What, to further their agenda?
Yeah. And I didn't really appreciate any of that, but to each their own.
I suppose because what Gladiators, how it all come to an end, sort of for people that wanted to use somebody as a stepping stone to further their career or make themselves look like knights in shining armors, it would have been very easy to use you as a scapegoat.
Well, yeah.
So how did it all end for you? Because as far as I remember, and everybody else that will remember, you Saturday night primetime TV, Shadow, like a big deal. Our words, I said the spine, you said the backbone of the show. A lot of people would have tuned in just to watch you. Gladiators would have known that their ratings are sky high because you're on there. And I'd like to know if you do know what their ratings were when you made the exit or you got forced.
I think they were running like 15, 16 million a week. After I came out, they were lucky to get 12. I mean, that's how many people stopped watching the program. Yeah.
See, I haven't researched that, but just I can imagine. Yeah, why do I want to tune into? I mean, there's a few names like Scorpio, Saracen. Yeah. There's names I remember, but I couldn't put a face to the names.
No.
You say Shadow, Wolf,
yeah.
Ulrika Johnson,
yes,
nice person.
Yeah, she was a lovely person.
Yeah. Did you get on? What did you know? Because she seems very troubled.
No, I didn't know she was well. I didn't know she was troubled. She was. I knew her as a weather girl before she became
That's
a
it.
presenter on Gladiators. But she was a lovely woman. Yeah, yeah.
It's normally the lovely people that get advantage taken from them and end up troubled.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, she's had some. Yeah, I thought I'd get some juicy gossip out of you about Ulrika Johnson because
No, there's not much I can tell you about.
she was just a nice person.
Yeah, she was
No-
lovely woman. Yeah.
No scandals at the time.
No, not that I knew of.
Just
Yeah.
seems like she's been unlucky in love and just got with the wrong dudes.
That's
and
it. That's it.
yeah, shame. And then there was it John Fashanu.
John Fashanu.
John Fashanu again. He seemed. Yeah, what's happened to him? Just
I have no idea. He just disappeared from the face of the earth. Really, I don't think he lives in England. I don't know where he is or what he did after Gladiators. But
and Wolf.
Wolf, he's in New Zealand at the moment. He lives in New Zealand. He's still in good shape.
He got out. He got out of the country.
Well, yeah. For what reason I don't know. I mean, New Zealand's nice. I've been there myself, but yeah, yes, that's where he's based now.
They do a good wine over there.
Do they really?
Do you drink alcohol nowadays?
Yeah, I have an occasional pint, but I'm not really a drinker.
Not a big wine drinker. Yeah. So Gladiators, Saturday night, primetime TV, outranking Noel Edmonds, Cilla Black.
Yeah,
Still love Cilla Black,
yeah.
but I won't go that. Even her music I love. I'm 43 and I still listen to Cilla Black.
Okay.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, she's great. And then how many seasons of Gladiators were there?
Well, I was there for the first 3 years. So I think that group that I started with went on to do it for about 6 to 8 years. I think after that.
Wow. So it carried on for a good few years after when you went. So star of the show, stood out heads and shoulders above everybody else. In not just my opinion. Most people that watched it, they would be tuning in for you. Great show, don't get me wrong. But every show's got a star of the show. Just the way it goes. How did that come to an end? What did you do for them to turn their back on you?
I was accused of doing a line of cocaine in a restaurant bar I used to go to in the King's Road. There was no photographs that they said they had. They only had a photograph of my Jeep outside the restaurant. But an undercover reporter said how he was with me inside the club in the men's room, and I did a line of cocaine, is what he said. And on the basis of that, LWT had to let me go. I suppose in the first year we didn't realize how big the show was going to be. In the second year, the show just blew up, and I think the age group of people that used to watch the program, it was say 5 to 15, but then it was 15 to 25, an older group of people. But because the kids were following it, I suppose they felt, well, you know, by firing me, that they would show that the rest of them were squeaky clean.
Send a message out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Send a message out to the rest of the cast,
Yeah.
but also let the viewers know
Yeah.
we don't stand
we
for,
don't tolerate. Yeah.
we don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
But just off somebody's word.
Yeah.
Now somebody could say something about me. Okay, well, is it on video camera? Is there a photograph? How can you? That's just hearsay.
Yeah.
So purely based off hearsay.
Yeah.
Who was this person?
I have no idea. No idea.
So did you do the lot of cocaine?
No.
See-
I mean, I'll be honest with you. At the end of the day, if I don't know you, I'm not going to step into a cubicle with you and just do a line of cocaine with you.
No, that would be insane.
Yeah.
That would be insane.
So, you know,
So it
that didn't happen.
it didn't happen. And the thing is now, you've got nothing to lose. It's done. It's dusted. You've
Yes.
moved on.
It's
There's
a long time ago.
whole load of other stuff that's
Yeah.
gone on, which
Yeah.
which we can cover, and also what's going to happen in the future, which is exciting. But because somebody accused you of doing something that we're saying is a lie, and there's no mileage for you to lie about it now. You're saying you didn't do the line of cocaine. You're not denying using cocaine,
No.
but you didn't do it at that time when you was being accused of it, and you wouldn't have been doing it irresponsibly with a stranger.
The stranger in the cubicle. That's right.
Yeah, what a dog of a human being to do that to another human being.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
did you feel? How did they make you feel? Resentful? I mean, because you're such a calm guy.
Yeah, I did feel resentful. I was violated. You know, at the end of the day, I wasn't given an opportunity to make things right. No one said to me, you know, Jeff, if you've got a problem, you know, do you want to get it sorted or anything like that? I was just axed, gone.
And did they call you in? And was it? How soon did it happen? And what season was it in? Was it the third season? Then just
Yeah, that was it. Third season gone.
Third season. And how soon after this alleged coke sniffing occasion took place?
Happened pretty quick. I remember I was brought into LWT to a press conference in order to apologize to my colleagues, apologize to the nation.
So LWT have summoned you in, and you knew what they were summoned you in for, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, because it was all over the tabloids. You know, it was.
So did you read about it before you got the call about it?
I did read about it. I used to get, you know, there were stories nearly every week in News of the World. At that time, News of the World were talking and dealing with all types of people. But I used to get phone calls and people would say, Jeff, have you seen the papers? I'd be like, oh, God, what now? Do you know what I mean? And then they're saying, you know, you've done the line of cocaine and this guy. And went from there.
So before that, what would they be printing about you?
What
else have they said?
Oh, I've had a number of stories. I've had just come back from burying my dad in Jamaica. Dad's not Jamaican. He was alive at the time. I think the tabloid said something like, former gladiator arrested for handling stolen Porsche. Never stole a car in my life. You know, there's my picture with Michael Costello underneath my picture. Whoever made the story, whoever wrote the story, disregarded my real name to find out my real name to go with the picture. But just all fabrication, really.
Were they not leaving themselves wide open for a lawsuit if they're making up?
Well, believe me, I did try. I went to Max Clifford at the time and said to him, listen, they're writing all these things about me that have nothing to do with me. He said, well, find out where you stand legally, is what his exact words were. But he never done nothing for me.
You would have thought Max Clifford would have known exactly where you stood legally.
Yeah.
If a national paper are completely making up stories and fabricating scenarios that never happened, you'd think, well, it's clear cut.
I mean, Barbara Windsor, God rest her soul, said to me, Jeff, they never want to see you have that power again. You know, and that was the reason for me, I don't know, being blackballed from the industry or you know, trying to get a step up.
Yeah, it's bizarre because did it cross your mind that maybe there wasn't an undercover reporter that said you done that? Maybe it was LWT that thought you were becoming bigger than the show and they made that up to get rid of you.
They always told us that nobody was bigger than the show. You know, no single person was bigger than the show. I'm afraid to say, you know, like I always say, I was the backbone of Gladiators. I was the serious side of Gladiators. People that prepared to compete on Gladiators, the only concern they would have would be me. And so that motivated a lot of people to come to the show, to train for the show, knowing that, you know, at the end of the day, I was the serious side of it.
That's a great point you've made there. That's a real good point, yeah, because the whole show looked jolly. The Wolf was a caricature of himself, almost a parody version of somebody. So if you thought, yeah, I'm going to go on Gladiators and I'm going to have Wolf chasing me personally, I wouldn't have given a monkey's fart.
No.
And I probably would have trained as I normally would. Someone reminded me that you're going to be there and I've got to go up against you. It's like, I better up my game. I better up it now and I better up it seriously. So by having you on the show, that instantly increases the caliber of contestant, which makes you, in my opinion, priceless.
Yeah.
Like extremely valuable to the show. And it's very hard to get your head around the politics behind it as to what would motivate them to act you from a show where you was bringing in huge numbers, increasing the contestants' competency. It's, just a shit way to end something that could have been so much more.
Yeah.
Because you could have gone on to do all sorts.
Even down to merchandise. People that made the merchandise, I think myself, Wolf and Jet was the leading sellers of merchandise, especially the toys and everything else. I mean, everything from bed linen to pajamas, the whole
So
right across the board.
you were the top 3.
Yeah.
Caricatures of you.
Yeah.
I mean, how much did that? I mean, talk of the merchandise. I mean, how much would that have grossed?
God knows.
Millions,
Millions. Yeah.
millions of pounds.
Yeah.
And how much were you getting paid for the?
No, we
for a
didn't. We
season?
didn't get nothing. We got in the first year we got £500 a show. You do 13 shows. The shows go out from September. They run all the way up until Christmas every Saturday. You could earn between £2,000 and £3,000 a month doing personal appearances. You paid your own tax.
£500 a show.
In the first year. In the second year, we were getting £750 a show. Yeah. Again, you would pay your own tax, and it was like you were self-employed sort of thing. We used to have outside agents before becoming Gladiators. We had agents that we used to work for.
So LWT, I mean, that isn't a million miles off exploitation. They're hitting monumental figures, record-breaking figures. They're outdoing Cilla Black and Noel Edmonds, and they're paying you £750 a show. The superstar of the show, and I'm assuming they're just relying on the fact that you love being on Gladiators.
Well, yeah,
you should be grateful.
Yeah, I think that was their thinking behind it, because at the end of the day, if you didn't like the contract, you didn't sign it, and then there was 1,000 people that were waiting for your job. You know, there was lots of people out there that wanted to be Gladiators. So if you didn't like the contract you were signing, keep stepping.
And I can fully appreciate that. There'd be no shortage of people wanting to be a gladiator,
Sure.
but we've also watched X Factor for years and seen that everyone wants to be a singer, and they can't sing.
They can't sing.
So, yeah, you may have 1,000 people waiting to be a gladiator, but like, who's going to fill Shadow's shoes?
Sure.
Yeah, I find it very bizarre, and it's just seems like there's more to it than me. Did you think that? Did you push? Did you dig deeper for answers?
No, I didn't actually. I took it on the chin and walked off, really. Yeah. There wasn't much I could do about it.
Fair play to you. I mean, it's I bet it was just an absolute complete shock to the system, because if you know you're the backbone and you know you're the star of the show, and I know by spending time with you that you're a very humble guy, you're a far cry from an arrogant man, but just having the confidence and the know that you are top dog within that arena, you probably thought to yourself, I'm humble, but I'm very secure here. I'm comfortable here. The viewers like me. I make the show a serious show. Contestants have to up their game to be here. This should be cool. I should be here now for a good few years. So that must have come as an absolute kidney shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And then
I remember having to take the G off my spare tire, because I used to have a Vauxhall Frontier, black and chrome, and I had the G on the back tire.
the Gladiator G.
Yeah, the G, shadow number plate. So I remember having to take that off, take the number plate off. It was like I was
Stripped?
stripped. Yeah, just stripped. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I remember going to the NEC and taking pictures with some management crew that was Nikon, the camera.
Oh, Nikon, isn't it?
Yeah. They put a system into my car, £5,000 worth of Alpine equipment. So it was an Alpine store. I took pictures with the managers and then there was a shadow grey leather interior. That's what it was called, and I got that for free. And then after being fired, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, after being fired, I was lucky to be able to get a packet of batteries from the shop for free. I mean, before that, I was, everywhere.
So when you put it like that when LWT dismissed you from the show, you didn't just lose your slot on the primetime show that was Gladiators Saturday night. You also lost your sponsors, your endorsements,
Everything.
all the little privileges that go with it, right down to the G on the back of your vehicle and your number plate.
Everything.
So that is, when you unbox it completely and you throw in all these bits and pieces that was done to you, that does send a message out to the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
You see what happens if you fuck around. But
Sure. I mean,
but you didn't fuck around.
No, at the end of the day, if they had stuck together we would have had more power if everyone had stuck together. But nobody wanted to make waves. Nobody wanted to get in trouble.
That is what I'm curious as to. Who stood up for who made a stand and said no, this is unacceptable?
No one.
Because I would have done. I'm telling you now, if it was hearsay, if it was word of mouth from some unnamed reporter, I'd be like, okay, fine. If he's done that, yep, he has got almost like a carer community. You have got a responsibility to your young audience.
Yes,
I get that,
yes.
and as I'm sure you do. But if you're saying you didn't do it and there's no evidence that you've done it and it's just hearsay, why on earth didn't the rest of the Gladiators stand up and say this isn't fair? Because if they all threaten to walk, what are you going to do? Replace us all?
But they didn't.
No.
And I didn't expect them to neither. But at the end of the day, like I just said, if they had, maybe if we had stuck together as a unit, we would have been a lot stronger. But because nobody wanted to make waves, nobody wanted to get in trouble, nobody wanted, it's not their business. They wanted to be gladiators.
It's a shame if social media was about back then, I've got a feeling things would have gone very differently for you, because there would be people like me that want to scratch beyond the surface and think that doesn't sound right. You're printing, there's stories about Jeff week in, week out, Shadow. There's stories about Shadow week in, week out. And now there's this accusation. So you need to be backing that up with some form of evidence, because they're just words.
Sure.
And words aren't worth a wank. You and me could say anything now. And so that's gospel then. Yeah. Okay, where's the proof? And I think nowadays where people don't believe the media, the government, everything, I have to be careful. I even have to be careful what I say here, because they're just looking to censor people. Sure. So nowadays people question everything. And I think that would have been a clear cut. Something smells very fishy here. Let's do a little bit of digging. And I think there would have been social media groups that would have formed. And hopefully now that you're back in the public eye through social media, which is extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful. Maybe now people will see it for what it was, and then also show some compassion, because you getting axed from Gladiators then led to a turbulent spiral, which we'll now touch base. And so how did that getting axed from Gladiators unfairly? How did that impact your life and your mental health?
It wasn't good. I mean, at the end of the day, one day I'm this person, next day I wake up and I'm someone else. And it was hard. It was hard to get my head around it. I did a few films, did a Mortal Kombat 2 as an extra. I did Jonathan's Creek, did bits and pieces here and there, a few commercials and that, but it wasn't the same.
Nah. And to have the to be branded a drug user as well, which back then was very taboo, but we now know that we've got, there's people in Parliament, there's traces of cocaine found in Parliament, and that's not hearsay. That's actually been found and proven and reported on. So people that proclaiming to be whiter than white, no pun intended, it's like, well, you're not. You're a human being. You drop the ball from time to time, but you sit there and you judge people and you wreck people's lives for the same things you're guilty of yourself, but maybe you just cover it up better yourself. Yeah. So, and that was going on back then. So, and this is what the public are getting sick of: the hypocrisy, the double standards out there.
Sure. I mean, you can imagine what life was like in the 90s.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you getting through your long shifts at Gladiators at work? I mean, I'm assuming, you tell me, what was the drug scene like on Gladiators?
We used to wake up in the morning, have breakfast. A few of us used to have a little dab of base to get through. I mean, you're talking about 14-hour day, not free base, base speed.
Speed, amphetamine,
Yeah. A dab of that after breakfast, and that would literally take you through the whole day. And like I said, it was a 14-hour day, 2 shows a day. It was a long day.
That would explain your stare.
I've had people say that to me. Was you high when you was up there? No, I wasn't. When I'm getting ready to do battle, I'm not actually looking at you. I'm looking through you. You don't exist. You don't exist. Yeah.
You're not there.
You're not there. I'm there as a machine to deliver something to you, and that is it. And that was basically what Nigel, God bless him, love him to death, Nigel, the man who produced Gladiators.
Ah,
in this
okay.
country. Yeah.
Is he still alive?
Yes. He used to say to me, Shadow, all I want to see is the whites of your eyes. Yeah.
Done.
And you know, don't take him out too quick. You know, leave room for
Toy with them.
Yeah, for a little bit because it makes good TV. You know, taking them off too quick is not always that great. But I remember one time we did a celebrity Gladiators, and Gary Mason, he's only small, about 5'5" or something he was, and he said to me, "Listen, Shadow, you hit me a couple of times, I'm just going to jump off. Yeah, I'm not
taking that."
So I had to let him bash me about a little bit, and then take him off.
Humour him.
Yeah.
So how many of you were taking a dab of speed before a shift? Was there anybody that was having a dab of speed that didn't make a stand when you was caught or you was allegedly accused of doing?
Nobody made a stand, and I have no comment on who or how many took a dab of speed.
Fair play. Not even how many. Fair play to you. Yeah, it makes you wonder. You're honourable and you're still protecting, you're even protecting the volume of numbers of people that could have done it. So you're not giving anything away. And yet them same people didn't have the kahunas to stand up and say, this is wrong.
Sure. I remember when they had the first reunion. How could you have a reunion and not invite me?
Well, you couldn't.
No. I'm sure the nation must have been saying, well, where's Shadow?
Especially if you're holding the base.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one.
No,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
There is no reunion.
I remember when I was inside and they were advertising the fact they're going to start the new program and start the new filming. I think they had a Lightning, Saracen, and I think Hunter was on a big breakfast morning TV program. Obviously, they can't talk about me because I'm sitting inside and I haven't been around for many years. But the guy that was presenting that program, he's come busting out of this paper display. He's busted through this paper display and he's carrying a pugil stick. Now, for me,
that's your thing.
Yeah, for me, they may not have mentioned my name.
Didn't need to.
They didn't need to. But for him coming out with that stick in his hand, people would relate that stick to me. So I was quite happy.
I was going to say you could take that as like that should be me there, but you can also think, well, that's a nod to me.
Yeah.
Take it as that.
Yeah, I took it as that.
Take it as that. Yeah, that's a nod to you.
I was quite pleased when I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And that was that. This is recently.
This is when they started to advertise the fact that they're starting the new.
So Gladiators is coming back.
Yeah, apparently they filmed 11 shows. I think they go out in September. They're going to see how these 11 shows take off, and if they take off, I suppose they film another 11 shows.
I'll tell you what, you're going to be a very hard act to follow. So going back to when you left Gladiators, and it was tough, which is to be expected. 1 minute you're on top of the world, next minute you're flat on your back through no fault of your own, because a lie has been printed about you, and LWC have just taken it as they have to make an example.
Yeah,
it's a sad story, and that would be enough. What I've read about then, heavier drugs were introduced, and you was using that to, I'm assuming, overcome the depression from your life being turned upside down. Masking something.
Maybe as an excuse. You know, I wouldn't like to think that. To be honest with you, I grew up in New York. I grew up in New York in the 80s. I grew up in New York when there was an epidemic.
Yes.
In New York City with crack cocaine.
Crack. Yeah.
Yeah. I started smoking crack cocaine at the age of 17. You know, I wasn't unfamiliar with that drug.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, over the years, my life did progress, not with drugs, but the American football, the bodybuilding, with becoming a gladiator. So that part of my life was out of the picture. Yes, losing my job was a big thing. And maybe I did look for comfort in the wrong places.
I think a lot of us are guilty of doing that. Not even guilty, a lot of us just find solace somewhere.
Yeah.
and not that I'm glamorizing drug use, but there's something that a substance can give you that an unforgiving human being can't give you.
Sure.
So what I would say is that isn't a good enough excuse.
No.
Once you become wise to it, but sometimes it takes going down the bottom
Sure.
of a bottle or
Sure.
sitting there with an empty pipe in your hand.
Yeah.
It takes that to realize that what I should have done was maybe I should have looked for more forgiving people to talk to.
Yeah.
But
because you can become best of friends with substance.
Totally.
Alcohol or drugs, you know. There may not be no one around you. There may not be no one who wants to be around you, but, you know, your best friend will be right there with you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's it keeps you company, and misery likes company.
Sure.
And there's nothing more miserable than a class A crack, smack, and normal
Relationship, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
and do you know what?
That's right.
I spoke to somebody once, and I was opening up my soul to them, and cocaine got brought up, and this woman said, because my dad used to feed me drugs, class A drugs. When his job was to protect me, he was feeding me drugs. So I've done all sort of mind altering, mind bending. So I was very young as well. So you know, most people listening would think 17 years of age and he's smoking crack. I was 15 years of age taking acid with my own father. So I know shit happens, and we're all victims of circumstance to some degree. And who knows how it's going to map out. If you make it out alive, you've done well.
Sure.
And the question was, what's your relationship with cocaine? This is a long time ago, but I'd never thought of it. I never thought of it like that.
No.
A relationship.
Mm.
What's your relationship? And I thought, cool, that's a powerful way of asking the question.
Yeah.
So what was your relationship with cocaine or crack? Because I also read that
My best friend.
Mm.
Yeah. I had no friends. Yeah. Even to this day, I have no friends. I have a couple of friends. I would like to think they're my friends. I've got my kids. They are my best of best friends.
Yeah,
I have an ex-girlfriend who is one of my best friends. But other than that, I don't have no friends. I have a lot of people that claim to know me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, people that do know me call me Jeff, and people that think they know me call me Shadow. Yeah. Like I said, I can't get away from that name. You know, it's my nickname now. It will be with me for the rest of my life.
There's worse ones.
There's worse ones. My book will be called The Shadow That Never Left Me. You know,
Great name.
these are the things I'm having to deal with, really.
And so are you currently writing a book?
Yes.
And that's The Wheels of Emotion.
Yes.
This is
It should have been written a long time ago.
And is it no holds barred?
Yes, it's an autobiography. It's my life from beginning to end, not just
Warts and all.
everything. Yeah.
And you'll clear up the untruths that are told about you, and I'm assuming you'll be mentioning a few truths that other people don't know. Because I watched a YouTube clip, and you was obviously snapped at your very, very worst, and they always want to compare you at your very, very best.
Yeah.
Now, whoever's seen them pictures, which I'm sure a lot of people have, this is the man today that you're looking at on the camera.
Yeah.
That man there was clearly in a bad place.
Sure.
And they was talking that you was using heroin. I don't know that we've never
Yes.
with it. So did it progress? Because it normally does. But people that sit there and judge. If you're introduced to crack at 17 and you're smoking it, and that's a very easy go-to if there's turbulence in your life. If you're using crack, it will normally result in using brown afterwards because you've got to bring yourself down and take off the anxiety because it puts you in a place of severe anxiety and trepidation. So is that?
Yes, all true, mate. All true.
Yeah.
I've been in some dark places. I've been in the trenches. I've been around ground zero, the 5,000. I've fed the 5,000. I'm surprised I've managed to make it over the wall, to be honest with you.
And it's not really. How long was you using heroin for?
Not long. I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
I mean, that's long enough.
Still long enough. Yeah, long enough. Yeah.
Smoking it or injecting it?
No, smoking it.
Didn't. Yeah. So you stopped before.
No,
because that comes next, doesn't it?
Yeah, that comes next. Yeah.
That comes next.
If you choose it to come next, it can come next. But no, that was a bit too far to go.
So I'm assuming that when you were using brown, were you still using the crack as well?
Yes, they go hand in hand.
Doing the balancing act.
Yeah.
Did you ever snowball it, mix the two together? You're thinking he knows a lot about this.
Yeah, whatever comes with it, mate. Whatever comes with it.
Because there's going to be people watching this that've got a pipe in their hand,
Yeah.
that are loading up a needle, that are boiling up a spoon. They're going to be watching this and they don't want to be there. They don't want that needle in their hand. They don't want the shit that comes with it, having to go and steal for money, doing crazy shit, their family turning their back on them. They don't want to be that person, but they are.
Yeah.
And they don't really know anybody around them because all their friends are doing the same thing. And it's very rare that they see someone that's been there and they're no longer there.
Yeah.
They leveled up. They held themselves accountable. They made a few tweaks and changes within their life. And they're now got an autobiography coming out. They're personal training people. They're doing a podcast tour. They're looking fabulous at 62. So it's to inspire. The whole point of this is to inspire, not remind you of the shit times, but just remind you of how far you've come.
Well, you know, there is a part of the brain called the amygdala. We share it with animals. Yeah.
What's it called? The
amygdala.
Right.
Yeah, we share it with animals. It's the part of the brain that reminds you to stay warm. It reminds you to eat, to go to the bathroom. Yeah, anything that you find pleasurable, i.e., masturbating, sex, whatever you find pleasurable that you do on a regular, that part of the brain will remind you to do it again. So when you are involved in drugs, you're feeding that part of the brain.
You're
feeding it.
And it wants it back.
And it wants it back, and it wants it whenever it wants it, and it wants it however you can get it. Yeah. Until you stop to feed that part of the brain, when it calls out for what it is it's asking you for, it would always be there. The less you feed it, the more silent it becomes. But if you're feeding it, you don't stand a chance.
See, this is a brilliant analogy, and it's great information. That's what people are lacking. People that don't know how to climb out the rut they're in or battle addiction, they're lacking something. Yeah. Strength, discipline, but also a support network, but also information. Just that snippet there. That that will get cropped and that will get put out as a short.
They say, you know, when you find yourself standing on the street corner waiting for a dealer for 5 hours, yeah, and every 15 minutes he's telling you, I'll be there, I'm coming, and you're waiting, and you throw all those brown letters to the side, and you know, you lie to your family, you borrow, you steal, you don't pay back. That power that you believe that drug has over you, they say to you to clench your fist. Now, the power that has you at that state, in that state of mind, tell it to open your hand. It doesn't have the power to open your hand. The only person that can open your hand is you. And this is the same kind of thought pattern you have to have. There is, to say that has such a power over me, I can't control it, I can't stop doing what I'm doing. Yes, you can. But you have to want it. It is literally a decision, yes or no. There's no in between. You can't slightly mess around with it. You can't slightly do it. Do it on the weekends. Because it will catch up with you.
Yeah, it's very good to remember that if you're talking crack and heroin, you cannot do the tango with it.
No.
You're in.
No,
you're in. You're in deep waters.
Yeah, you're in or you're out. Simple.
And what was the point for you when you, because to be smoking crack and then be doing heroin for 5 years, that's half a decade. You're an established user. How did you do it? What was your why, and then how did you do it? Because that's the impressive part. And every now and again,
I think, you know, when your life is just about that, when you have nothing else going on in your life, and the people you're around are doing it, you know, nobody else is not doing it, it becomes part and parcel of life, part and parcel of waking up each day. Your mission is to get high, and not so much for the pleasure of getting high, but for the need to get high, knowing no better, not wanting to know no better, not wanting to have anything else in your life other than that. It's a sad place to be, you know, to think that you would accept that as a way of life,
as who you are,
that's who you are. You know, it's sad, you know, and when you're around people that are just as sad, There's no one to pick you up. There's no one to say, listen, stop doing that, mate. It's no good for you. You know, the only thing that comes out of their mouth is, where are we going to get? How are we going to get this money?
And this is so important to touch base on. And yeah, you described that perfectly. You have to want to do it, and you have to do it yourself. It's the loneliest journey to come back from a drug addiction, because you won't be socializing with straight goers. Misery likes company.
Sure.
You're going to be sitting in a room with a fellow crackhead, with a fellow smackhead.
Sure.
It will be someone else loading the needle for you that wants to use it next. That person doesn't want you clean because he wants the company.
No.
So how on earth do you break free of that? That has got to be intrinsic strength and remembering your worth and your value, and then executing some kind of inner program. The first few steps.
Yeah, remembering your worth. That's it.
Remembering your worth.
Yeah, that's it.
Totally.
My kids remind me of my worth all the time.
Yeah. Well,
They do so much for me. They do so much for themselves. I'm inspired to see how far they've come. I'm inspired to think that they have a part of me, the part of me.
Your legacy.
The part of me that is the best part of me, the positive side of me, the
Disciplined,
awesome.
determined.
Yes.
Positive, because you have to be. There has to be not just an element of positivity in you. There has to be positivity, whether you realize it or not, in abundance within you, to climb out of that trench that you was in. There has to be something in it's like, no, actually, there's a few things burning up inside me, but one of them now is there's a positive drive to progress and move away from this shit, no matter how long it takes.
I'm trying to, at the moment, trying to salvage myself, salvage what I can. Yeah. If the next 20 go as fast as the last 20, it's all over.
But they won't. You know how quick time goes when you're on drugs. How many people sit up on the oats and barley and they're looking at the clock and they're thinking, I'll stop at midnight. Oh, I'll stop at 2. Oh, I'll stop at 3. It's now 9 o'clock the following evening. You're still in the same spot doing the same thing, wanking the same limp dick to the same porn. And you still don't stop. Time goes like that. So now that you're clean, time will slow down and you will achieve a hell of a lot more. You'll do a lot more things. You'll connect with a lot more people. And you'll never do the things that you had to do to sustain and afford and pay for the habit.
Exactly.
I mean, tell me where that leads to. How do you fund a drug habit? You've been to jail multiple times. Tell me some of the things you had to do to get by. What landed you in jail? People are going to want to know this.
God. Everything from shoplifting, everything from...
There was a kidnapping, wasn't there?
No, it wasn't actually a kidnapping.
So that's wrong.
Yeah,
Put the record.
That is wrong.
Set the record straight.
The guy, I'm not supposed to talk about the crime. I'm not supposed to talk about, as far as my probation are concerned. Jeff, do not talk about the offence.
Okay.
Yeah, so
this is the most recent one.
The most recent one. When you talk about kidnapping, we didn't kidnap no one.
Right. Was there demanding money with menace to set him free?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So it was blackmail and force imprisonment.
And was he just a random guy, or was there a beef?
No. Again, no comment.
You don't have to comment, but just we spent time together.
Yes.
I cannot see you taking a stranger somewhere and demanding money for his release.
No, it wasn't. It was nothing like that.
I don't think it is.
No, it was nothing like that.
I put my mortgage on it that isn't true.
That isn't true. I would love to sit here and explain everything to you as it was, but again, like I said,
if probation are cutting your tongue off, then that's
Jeff.
That's fair dues.
Do not talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to put out for the record that I cannot imagine you kidnapping somebody and then and demanding.
No,
because it's out there that you demanded £1,000 for his release from the family. If you're going to kidnap somebody and demand money for their release, you're going to jail.
Yes.
You're going to do it for a lot more money.
Yes.
Doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. Okay, so the things that what are the things you've done to support your drug habit that you can talk about, so people don't feel like they're on their own? Shoplifting,
borrowing, stealing,
not paying back, lying, deceiving, cheating, all that shit.
The whole 9 yards.
And
there is no other way.
No.
when you're on that track, there is no other way.
And how heavy was your habit? What were you spending a day on smack?
Oh, my habit wasn't outrageous. It was a maintenance. 10, 20, depending on how much money came in. You know, depending on how much you needed to come down.
Again, people don't realize it. You know, it's that, and when you're too high, you've got to bring yourself down, because that's a horrible place to be. And if you're too down, you've got to bring yourself up, because that's equally as frightening.
It's a sad state of affairs.
It is. And so, how long have you been clean for, drug free?
5 years.
5 years.
Mm.
Fair play, man.
I mean, every day is
A battle.
a battle. I mean, every day that part of the brain, like I described to you earlier, does remind me.
Still wants feeding.
Still wants feeding.
Temptations.
Yeah, but I have to just shut it down, you know, and just tell it no.
Did you do the 12-step program?
No, I've heard of it, but I didn't do it. No.
Yeah, a lot of people that I know that have come out of the trenches, that have beaten addiction. They've done the 12-step program, but I don't know anybody that hasn't relapsed either. So did you, when you decided I'm going to come clean, did you come clean, or did you relapse a few times?
No, I relapsed a few times.
Yeah. Again, don't.
I mean, when I say relapse a few times, a relapse can be just a pipe. It doesn't have to be
A session.
a session or days on end. Just the bare fact that you did it again. That only leads to feeding that part of the brain again. Oh, I've been seeing you for a long time. Nice to see you.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yeah.
And it's pleased to see you, isn't it?
It's pleased to
It
see
wants
it's
you
happy
there.
to see you, yeah. Let's not do it tomorrow. Let's make a plan for next week or the end of the month. Treat yourself at the end of the month. That'd be all right.
Earn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not so bad then. But it is. It is just as bad.
Especially once you broke the seal and you've done it, it then calls you back sooner next time.
And each time it gets sooner and sooner and sooner. And before you know it, you're back on the 24-hour shift again.
On sealing duty for days. Do you know what? It's so good that you can laugh and smile about it now. That's got to be a good indication that shit really is in the rear view mirror.
Yeah.
And the future's bright now, which is why I really wanted you to come on. And I knew that I would warm to you, because I knew there was more beyond the surface, and then training with you, and it's a very, very sad story. Don't get me wrong. It's an extremely sad story, but there's the light at the end of the tunnel. I think for you is starting to shine through.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that little bit of light?
I'm seeing that little bit.
Because you've probably thought for a long time, shit, this is light. This is your life.
Yeah.
Michael Aspel.
Yeah, I used to think,
Jeff, this is your life.
You know, okay, you know, yeah, what I did was 30 years ago. Who really gives a fuck about what I'm doing now? You know, but the love and the support that I've had since I've been released has been fantastic. You know,
I see it with my own eyes.
Enough to drive me, you know, I can do something. I can salvage something. I can salvage myself.
And there's a few things that, I mean, I'm assuming that the gym, and I can't promote the gym enough. I mean, we bonded over a gym session.
Yes.
Like, it's powerful.
Yes.
If you put yourself in the right place, it's almost like you're a flower and you're watering yourself.
Sure.
You will blossom and you will grow and you will evolve. Sure. And the gym for me, that is like church.
Yeah.
And if you've got someone in there with the same energy, even if you can talk each other out of bad ideas, get in a gym, like and support each other in the gym. Yeah. When that testosterone's flowing, when that blood's pumping around your system, when your muscles are swollen, you're looking at yourself and you're feeling great, just say something positive to your training partner or just anybody in there. Sure. Like, because I don't know about you, but it makes me feel, training makes me feel great, and it makes me feel bulletproof, and it makes me feel like, do you know what? I'm too strong to feed that part of my brain that wants me to fail.
Yes.
It builds me
100%,
up
100%.
In the head. So anyone that, I think, just as just to round off the drug use and abuse and addiction and people that are struggling, because I do like to get a message out to anyone that's going to start watching these podcasts that you're not alone, you're not on your own, and these stories that you're going to hear from people, they're walking, talking, living proof that you can come back.
Yes.
You know, whether you're flat on your back taking a 10 count, you're up against the ropes, there's always things you can do to get yourself back in the center of the ring.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Being wrapped around the right people counts.
Sure.
Choose your friends wisely. Don't wrap yourself around wankers. And you know, no matter how old you get, you're never going to meet your last wanker.
That's right.
You've got to identify them.
Yeah, you have to know them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, if you're in a rut, that tells me that you spent enough time wrapped around them. So by now you should know a wanker when you see one.
Yeah, you should know when you see them.
Has someone got your best interest?
Yeah. And if they don't, stay away from them.
Or are you there feeding their?
Yeah.
Are you supplying what they need?
Sure.
That shit.
Sure.
Do they feed off your misery? Because it's fucking sick and twisted out there.
You best know. You best know. You best be able to recognize.
Yeah. So I say this is me. I mean, I love your input, but for me, if you're trying to break away from the rut that you're in, substance abuse, be it alcohol. I mean, alcohol's the fucking worst. You can't walk 100 yards. You walk past an off license or a pub. It's there sucking you in, bright colours, posh labels. At least with cocaine, you know it comes out, it stinks like shit, and you've got to sneak into the toilet to do it. Alcohol is completely glamorized.
Gambling, same thing.
Oh yeah, and addictions, they normally come in free. You're gambling, you're watching porn, you're sniffing gear. It's like, oh shit, that's expensive. That's gonna mangle your brain. Good luck sustaining a relationship with that. But a thing I done years and years ago, I started to eliminate people that I would use drugs with.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't a good vibe with him. It didn't work with him.
Yeah.
He was a negative energy.
Yeah.
I didn't have fun because at the start, taking drugs is fun. All of a sudden, it becomes very unpleasant.
Yeah.
So that's a good trick. If you start eliminating people that you use drugs with, don't get me wrong, eventually you will use them alone. However, you then become sick of your own company.
Yeah, if you choose to use them alone, you will lose them. You will use them alone.
Yeah,
you don't need to have people around you. Yeah.
No. But if you start the elimination process, you're at least taking a step in the right direction. You're not regressing.
Yes.
And that's even a little step. You know, you may get, your parents may call you a little junkie, or they may be disappointed. But trust me, if that's got a grip on you and you're making baby steps, they're quantum leaps.
Yes.
They really are. They're getting you in the right direction. So, Jim, eliminating who you use drugs with, and then expanding the time frame before you next or last used. Before that gap becomes so big, a bit like growing a beard, you never want to shave it off. You've not done drugs for so long, you think, only a wanker would go back now.
That's right.
Don't do it.
Right.
Extend.
That's right.
And you're going to relapse.
That's right.
You're going to relapse. I mean, anything for you that you can add on that?
I'm actually walking on eggshells, man. I mean, now the sentence begins. Yeah. I just spent 3 inside. Now I've got another 3 outside.
On suspended.
The slightest mistake, be around the wrong person, be around the wrong people, be in the wrong situation, the wrong place, and I can see myself back in prison. So I'm very conscious of who I'm with, who I see, who I put myself around.
Well, I'm honoured you've come on the show, because I know for you don't need to tell me that you've got issues with trust, because I can tell by what you've experienced in your life. You're going to have. How the fuck can you trust people when you've been shit on from such a great height?
Sure.
So, yeah, you've got to have your radars up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, 62 years of age, you're longer in the tooth than most human beings on the planet. You've lived a life that you can now write a book about.
Yeah.
And you spot the wankers. You'll choose the people to network with, to bounce back with. And already, like I know behind the scenes, the network's building.
Yes. And I'm very pleased with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, mate, you're nice to be around. Like, you give back. You don't, there's some people, they'll sit on a table and they just take your energy.
Yeah.
Vampires.
Sure.
You give it. See, it's just so hard to believe and sad to think that I've been in crack dens. I've been in houses like that where there's 8 people in a room with needles hanging out their arms. It's heartbreaking to think you've actually been there.
Yeah.
But it's so fucking impressive to know that you're sat in this is my house. This isn't like you're in my house in a shirt looking $1 million. You've got a movie star smile and you've got a book coming out. Yeah. And I believe you've got another little hidden talent that probably no one knows about.
Yeah.
You're artwork,
Artwork, yeah.
and you're considering putting art on people's skin.
Sure. Yeah,
Talk to me about.
I'm very interested in doing the tattoo work. I mean, yes, I can draw and copy anything on paper. I know it's a different thing to put it onto skin. Learning that there's a transfer that goes onto the skin first makes it 100% easier for me.
Yeah.
Because it's all about building that picture up and bringing out the artwork, and that's where I.
And can we put some of your artwork? Can we cut it into the video just so people can see this is actually what you're capable of doing?
Yes.
Mega skill.
Do you want me to show you what I do? I mean, do you want to see what I do, or what are we talking verbally?
No, what I'm saying is, so what we'll do is the videographer.
Yes.
We'll send him your some of the good bits of art that you've done,
Okay,
and during this conversation, the podcast, they'll pop up on the screen, so people can actually visualize what you can do.
That
So
sounds good.
you're not just a head of an athlete, a pro bodybuilder, a gladiator, a survivor, because that's what you got to remember.
Yeah.
You survived the storm.
Yeah.
And it was a fucking hell of a storm.
Yeah, it was a
so
big storm.
you got all these qualities as a human being. Sometimes you just need reminding of them.
Yeah.
And being wrapped around dogs, they're never going to remind you how good you are because they want you on the lead.
Sure.
Good people want you off the lead and remind you you're a hell of a man.
Yeah.
And now you're going to become an inspiration. This will help people.
Yeah.
This will help people. You're going to go on, they're going to read your book. People are going to think, shit, the media lied about this man. And also, they kicked you when you were down. That's the worst of it all. So this is now the comeback, the rebuild. This is the remake. Yeah. This is the comeback.
Yeah.
And so your PT and your personal training.
Yes.
And that's what you're currently doing.
Yes, and that's what I've always done. I'm a great believer in pushing people.
Oh, you done that?
Yeah,
You've done that.
I thoroughly enjoy it.
I thoroughly enjoyed being on the receiver. I mean, I loved that session. It was great, wasn't it? It was good fun.
It was good.
Yeah. Anyone that wants remember who the man is. He didn't get in all them places. He wasn't standing on that podium for just being an average Joe. He pushed me to the absolute limits, and I was still smiling.
Yeah,
tricking me. 5 more reps, and I only had 2 left in me. And then he wanted another 5.
Yeah.
And I come out that gym session feeling $1 million. I pushed myself past my limit because you saw it in me.
Yes,
you obviously saw it in me.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't want to injure me.
No, obviously not, or push you to something you couldn't reach. But I could see that, and you also want to feel that satisfaction at the end that, you know what, those extra 5 that you asked me for, I did them.
Yeah.
You could have done them. You could have stopped.
Normally I would, if I'm honest.
But to get the extra 5, and then not only do the extra 5, but if I say, give me 5 more.
Yeah.
Now you've done that extra 5 under pressure, but you've given another 5 on top of that. So that's got to make you feel good.
Well, it was because it was a little surprise. Yeah. I weren't expecting it. I was thinking, cool, I've got 2 more and I'm done.
In your head, you got 2.
Have another 5. That one's on the house. Them 5 are on the house. Enjoy. But they were the ones that they're the ones that count, didn't they?
Yeah, they're the ones that make you feel good. Those are the ones that make you feel good.
I bet they do. Have you got a website that advertises your PT?
Official Shadow Gladiators on Instagram. You can find everything on there, the artwork.
Official Shadow Gladiator. That's on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So we'll get that up as well, so people know where to find you. Sure. And as far as the tattooing goes, and just before I go back onto the tattooing, I cannot recommend enough. Imagine telling your friends that you've been in the gym training with Shadow, and if you're lucky enough to get on with him, you can call him Jeff.
Yeah.
I loved it, so I'm pushing that out there for you. I had a great time, and we are going to train again. I don't care if I have to drive 2 hours to you. We're gonna train. We're gonna eat steak.
Why not?
We're gonna do it.
Why not?
And then the tattooing, which your artwork is phenomenal. You're waiting for pigskin to arrive.
Yes, my daughter's just ordered me some silicone skin.
Yeah.
So I get used to stretching it and putting it down, putting the transfer onto the skin, and like I said, I didn't realize at the time that a transfer was put onto the skin. I thought this is all just people freehand artwork.
Yeah.
To learn that there's a transfer that goes on first makes it a lot easier for me, because it's the artwork afterwards that brings out the picture.
Yeah, totally.
And that's what I'm about, is the artwork.
But we'll see I'll see how you get on, and I might say, go on, whack it on a real bit of skin. I'll have something. Maybe put the G stamp back on.
You ain't got no room anyway.
No, I'm going. We'll find somewhere.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I totally appreciate that some bits we spoke about, they're not going to be pleasant to rehash, but it's all part of your journey. It's who you are. It's going to make you bulletproof. It's going to inspire other people. And we've now discussed that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I know the light's going to come flooding through. You've got an autobiography. So rather than me, we could spend another 2-3 hours here. But I'm going to say, we'll wrap it up now.
Yeah.
We're going to have some lunch and just buy the man's book. Buy the book. Get inspired. Get serious about life. Get serious about leveling up. Lick your wounds. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Get up, dust yourself off. You know, there's always someone out there that's had it rougher and tougher.
Step forward.
Step forward.
Yeah.
Lean into it.
Yeah.
Lean into your problems and just deal with them head on.
Yeah.
And we got a 6'3" man mountain gladiator, 62 years of age, that has not been frightened to talk and open himself to someone over a table. And I've done it myself.
Yeah.
It sets you free.
It does.
It's a good feeling.
It does. I mean, there were things that I was kind of thinking to myself, I don't want to talk about, or I shouldn't talk about. But, it does set you free. It's good to be honest, tell the truth, be straight. No lying about me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When you own up to your imperfections, what can anybody else say or do?
Sure.
It's like, well, I've said that. It's no secret. Now why don't we focus on some of the good stuff?
Yeah.
Because I'm a human being. Sure. That's what it's all about. Jeff?
Yes.
I can't thank you enough for coming on.
It's been a pleasure.
And I've thoroughly enjoyed the day. I've enjoyed the conversation. I feel like you've enjoyed it as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I think there's
100%.
more to come.
100%.
Find Shadow on Instagram.
Yes.
When his book comes out, he'll promote on there. I'll share it on mine. We'll get it up. We'll get it into your heads. This will inspire people.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Good man.
Magic.